All right. Welcome to The Lone Wolf. I cover a lot of topics right now. I am watching the basketball playoffs, the 2024 NBA playoffs, and it's been an exhilarating ride. There have been a lot of questions from a lot of places, mostly from fans, not the media. The media does not discuss what we're going to talk about today. Today we're going to talk about the Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Will the Mavs sweep? We're going to go over Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and wow, a sweep happened there. Then after that, we're going to round it out with the officiating in the NBA. What media groups won't discuss. So Game 4 of the WCF Western Conference Finals is tonight. And will the Mavs sweep the Timberwolves? Well, it looks like it. It looks like the Mavs own the Wolves' numbers. But when we get into the nitty-gritty, the officiating, it tells a different story. It tells a story that the Mavs don't own the Timberwolves' number. It shows a story that the Timberwolves are imploding. Because when you look at the calls, the last 3 minutes of the game, the officials have tried to give the Timberwolves the game. And those guys just keep dropping the ball, literally, throwing it into the stands, making all kinds of ridiculous plays that are not, as a 7-year fan of the Timberwolves, and season ticket holder, I got to tell you, I've not seen the Timberwolves play this bad since maybe 2018. You know, I just can't wrap my head around what is happening on the court and why it is happening. A lot of people are saying it's because Ant is only 22, and they're also saying that Cat doesn't have the experience at this level of playoffs, so this is brand new for him too. Okay, then we got Connolly and we got Gobert, two guys who are used to that, and I'm guessing that's why Gobert hasn't come out. You know, I've been saying all throughout the playoffs, you got to play through the fouls. You got to play through the bad calls. You got to keep going and hustling. And the Timberwolves are, but they're not dropping shots. Karl Anthony Towns, 0 for 8. One of the best three-pointers shooting. Forget about it. It's crazy. So will the Mavs sweep? You know, part of the issue here that I'm seeing with the Timberwolves and the Mavs series is that the Timberwolves are not switching on defense like they were to disrupt Phoenix and the Nuggets. For whatever reason, they're acting like Kyrie and Luka are just phenomenal. Now, I'll go with Kyrie on phenomenal. Luka, man, that guy's a crybaby. I'm sorry. That dude jumps up and down more times than a adolescent in a high school game. And really, if you think about it, Luka's just a giant baby. He started playing football or basketball when he was 16. 16. The guy's never matured. So when you watch him out there, he's 25 years old. He's 25 going on 18. He doesn't have life experience outside of handlers, man. Luka is a talent, but he's not the kind of champ I want to see. Who, you know, I wouldn't mind seeing Kyrie because Kyrie has respect, a whole different thing. But Kyrie, of course, has a different pathway than Luka. Luka is like a high school dropout, man. He's a European high school dropout that is now playing professional ball in the United States at the highest level, and he flops. I call it the Luka flop. Anytime he takes a shot, he automatically falls to the floor. I don't know if this is a byproduct of Jason Kidd or Luka watching Harden or watching LeBron, because he's doing the same kind of moves Harden and LeBron do when they take shots and miss, or they feel like something is wrong and they should have had some other kind of call. Harden and LeBron do what Luka does. But I mean, really, Luka's really doing LeBron, because I've never seen Harden jump up and down and scream at the officials, and no technical. And that's another thing. Well, we'll get into that in the last part here. But so the Timberwolves, if they start out Game 4 tonight and just say, okay, we're going to switch, and they put Gobert and have Gobert come in off the bench, you got a whole different team, man. You got a young team that can switch and can move around, with Gobert coming in for rim protection to give Naz Reid a rest on the bench, or Cat a rest. I mean, that's just the way it is. You're just inversing what we've been seeing. I would like to see that tonight. I mean, there is no reason not to give this a try. Your back's on the wall. The last 3 games have not worked. And the last 4 games has disappeared, except for the third quarter where he came back and then went away again. And I watched the tape. I watched the game. I recorded it, and I don't understand. I really don't. Part of me thinks that Ant is a unique dude. I wonder if he, like the All-Star game, decided to try some different things and see if he can do what's never been done in the NBA before. I mean, think about it. How great of a story would that be? And I'd love to watch Luka's face at Game 7 when Ant puts it down on him. I'd love to see that. Could it happen? It could. We live in a storybook age, and what story is that? And the NBA hasn't had anything that phenomenal ever. They've had everything else. You've had everything else in the NBA, but a team come back from a 0-3 deficit in the playoffs. So that would be very interesting. So that's my take. If the Timberwolves go back to switching on defense and don't start Gobert but start Naz Reid, you could have a whole different feel to the game and a whole different outcome. One where I say the Wolves blow out Dallas 4 games in a row. That's just the way it is. You take a look at what Minnesota did against Phoenix. You take a look at what Minnesota did against Denver. Then you take a look at what they've done against Dallas. It doesn't even match up. Dallas would get knocked around by Denver. Just straight up. They would. So I don't understand what's happening here. I really don't. I can't put my finger on it. But I do know that if you're going to take a shot in the dark, go ahead and mix it up. So let's go Wolves. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Conference, on the other side of the world, the Boston Celtics got a sweep. Now, Boston, I love Boston. You know, I'm a old head. But I'll tell you what, Boston is not man, they're kind of a manufactured team, man. When I say manufactured team, I mean Adam Silver and his Sacaucuous Boyz and the crew, the umpire and side judge, all these guys sure give Boston a lot of calls. I mean, last night, Jaylen Brown hit T.J. McConnell dead in the face in the fourth quarter. I mean, dead in the face. This is after Brown had an altercation with Miles Turner. And, you know, I said that Miles Turner was going to be the difference maker in all of the series that Indiana played in. And you know what? He was. Miles Turner is a phenomenal young player, and Jaylen Brown is a phenomenally manufactured superhero. Jason Tatum, I don't know. Jason does some other things and doesn't seem to get as many calls, but Jaylen Brown is definitely manufactured. And I tell you what, for being as manufactured as he is, he's not loved worldwide. Take a look at who wasn't manufactured. Ja Morant. They weren't manufacturing Ja. He was just running past officials and doing some things that were incredible, much like Ant. Ant arrived on the scene doing those kind of things. Jaylen, gifted a spot. Jaylen's good. Don't get me wrong, but he gets so many calls that it's sickening. And when I say calls, guys, you don't have to go to the free throw line to get a call. What can happen is the officials, I'm going to touch on this in the third part. So the officials do some crazy things. But that's the big question. Why wasn't Jaylen ejected for hitting TJ in the face? That was most definitely a flagrant 2. Flagrant 2, grab your bags and go to the back. Grab your bags and go to the back. And there are so many questions following Boston all the way through this thing that it's just It raises serious questions, and the main heads don't talk about it. What they're going to tell you is that, oh, it's the best duo tandem in the world. Let me be Kevin Hart. It's the best duo tandem in the world. Kevin Hart, you don't know nothing. He's 5 foot tall. I have to grab his peanut butter for him. He can't reach the top counter. I'm just saying. I loved Kevin Hart's show too, so I'm not. Man, don't even think I'm knocking Kevin. I'm a comedian, diehard. Kevin he's special. But when it comes down to Boston, they're not that good. They're not. They're a manufactured Adam Silver and Sacaucus manufactured team, and that's what the NBA is turning into for me. I hate to say it, but the NBA is definitely starting to look like it's ran by Vince McMahon. If you don't know who Vince McMahon is, you're awfully young. So that segues right into the officiating in the NBA. So the officiating in the NBA, you pick your poison when it comes to sports shows. No matter where you go, nobody talks about the bad officiating. They'll just talk about the teams need to buckle their bootstraps. They need to pull it together. They need to be, they need to do these things. And it's like, that's if you ignore a problem, then you are the problem. You hear what I'm saying? The media is the problem, right along with Adam Silver and the Sacaucuous Boyz. And that's just what I'm going to call it, because the officials always got to go to Sacaucus. Look at the replay. What's in the Sacaucus? Adam Silver runs it all through Sacaucus. And the playoffs would be completely different had they called the games. Everyone likes to say consistent. That's garbage. If they called the games fair. I mean, fans who are paying up to $20,000 for courtside seats can see when calls are not fair. How do you justify to that fan who's paid $20,000 for a seat that the call was fair? How do you do that? How do you look at the fan in the face and say, "Hey, look, man, thanks for buying that seat for $20,000. Now that's resale value, because the league's not selling them that for that much right now that I'm aware of. It's a couple grand, maybe $8,000, but they even $8,000, dude. $8,000 is like 4 or 5 months worth of salary for a lot of us fans. $8,000, that's ridiculous. And to pay that kind of money only to go watch the officials rob a team like Indiana from having wins and giving some guy who's good but not that good, Jaylen, I can't even, man, I think of Brunson when I say that, Brown ain't nothing, dude. Brown ain't nothing. And Tatum, man, those guys, man, so it's a WWE thing. When you take a look at it, if you're unfamiliar with Vince McMahon back in the day, you know who The Rock is. Well, The Rock came up through Vince McMahon, and The Rock was manufactured. He was manufactured, but he also had talent, the ability to speak. Back in the late 1990s and early 2000s, the WWE, which is World Wrestling Experience, I think it is, it went from the World Wrestling Entertainment. So the WWE took over for the WWF. They had a name change. And what Vince did, and he was so good at, was promoting. And maybe the NBA needs to bring on a McMahon to help them promote what's happening, because what's happening right now, it is a travesty. I'd like to hear your comments and hear what you have to say about this and what your thoughts are on, number one, will the Mavs sweep the Wolves? I don't think so. I think we're going to have a change of heart tonight, and we're going to have Gobert come in off the bench. DPOY is getting DP worked, man. He's getting DP worked. And we need some faster shoes out there, which is Naz Reid. Faster, more athletic. Gobert, don't get me wrong, is athletic for a man his height. For a man his size, Gobert is athletic. Naz Reid is more athletic. It opens up so many more doors. Now, the Eastern Western Conference Finals. What do you think? Should have Brown been ejected for smashing T.J. McConnell in the face? I mean, man, that was a hard, when you watch the replay, okay, for those of us who record games, because it is 2024 and you can do that, when you watch the replay and you see Jaylen, he's not looking, I don't even know if that's that dude's name, man. I ain't going to look it up because, like I said, I don't care for him. When you look at him, he's looking dead at TJ's face, not the ball. And he smacks him, and then TJ goes right onto his kettle, right onto his bum. No bracing. He could have got seriously injured, but then it seemed like they just went out of timeout for a side out. No shooting foul, just a common foul, side out. And that's how the officials are ruining the game. They are getting involved when the other team has momentum, and they're doing side outs. They're doing turnovers. So when you see teams have high turnovers, oh, they had such high turnovers, it's crap, man. It's the officials. It's Sacaucus. It's Adam Silver. I want you to think about that. Listen to the talking heads and how they never talk about the officiating. Never. You know, if I was giving you $100 and I said, okay, look, man, I'll give you this $100 as long as you don't say anything bad about my blue shoes. Well, you're wearing brown clothes, Joe. You got brown pants, brown shirt, a brown hat. Why you got the blue shoes? Don't talk about my blue shoes. You're going to not talk about my blue shoes and take that $100 if you like collecting money, which is what Americans like to do. America is the land of capitalism. I, myself, I'm doing this for free right here. I'm talking to you for free. I'm not getting any kind of bonus points here. There's no money going into my pocket. I'd like there to be. And one time from now, you might be able to help me out with that by buying a t-shirt or a hat. But that's it. That's it. I'm sharing these insanely insightful thoughts with you for free. And I tell you what, I ain't too far off. So rest in peace, Bill Walton. I was shocked to hear that you had left on Memorial Day in the morning. Rest in peace. And I hope everyone had a nice and happy Memorial Day weekend in honor of those who have fallen. And I will see you guys after the game. Well, actually, if you're following me on Facebook, you're going to see in-game reports because that's what I like to do. And when it comes to Game 5, you'll be seeing me in the Target Center. So let's go Wolves. This is all for Lone Wolf signing off.